During consoles such as the N64, PS1, PS2, Xbox, and GameCube, you probably noticed many games under a subgenre known as mascot platformers, but one that is forgotten amongst those is definitely Pac-Man World and his whole trilogy. Well, with the new remake, Pac-Man World Re-Pac, Pac-Man World is forgotten no longer. While this remake does a great job rebuilding on what the original game achieved, it is a remake to a fault. But what do I mean? Well, let's get into this. Hi guys, DPX here, reviewing today Pac-Man World Re-Pac. Now before we get started, you know what to do. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell and leave a comment, or I will eat you, like how Pac-Man eats ghosts. You're gonna become a ghost if I eat you. Just subscribe to prevent that from happening. The gameplay for Pac-Man World Re-Pac is very reminiscent of many older mascot platformers from the PS1, because it, kind of is an older mascot platformer from the PS1, but it is very good. I don't think the original Pac-Man World has aged too well, as I feel like most games from that time haven't aged too well, as they feel clunky and look weird today. Pac-Man World Re-Pac definitely looks better, and they made it feel a bit better, but my main issue with this game is that the game still feels clunky. It's nice to see built from the ground up remakes that still manage to be, one-to-one more or less, and more or less the same game, but it becomes an issue when you're too one-to-one. Like, I can give it this, it is a faithful remake, but it might be a little too faithful. You see, yeah, they remade Pac-Man World to a fault. This game has a lot of retro bullshit in it and clunkiness that was present in the original because that's just how things were back then, but he could have changed it up, I feel. Now, I understand I could just be bad, but there are far too many times where I miss a jump that looks safe, and there is no real reason I should have missed it. Sometimes enemies won't die despite how many times I ground pound them or throw power pellets at them, and when you get the big power pellet and start chasing the ghosts, a lot of areas where you can't stand on platforms then appear so you won't fall when you're the big Pac-Man, but when you go back to normal you'll just fall right through because those platforms disappear. How the fuck was I supposed to know that? Now, there is an easy mode in case you are having trouble, but when you turn it on, it doesn't stay on when you get to the next level, and all it really does is add platforms. It doesn't really do anything else to make the game easier. It doesn't, if you're having trouble fighting the bosses, for example, it doesn't do anything to fix that. I'm not particularly complaining that the bosses are a little tricky. It's just, why even have a easy mode if it doesn't really make the game easier? I'm being really negative, but this is a decent game. I just feel they brought back some stuff they really could have left out. The story of Pac-Man World Re-Pac is the exact same as the original Pac-Man Worlds, which is to say, nothing too crazy, it's fine, it's a fine enough story for a game like this. In this game, a bunch of ghosts and Pac-Man, the main villain, goes searching for Pac-Man but can't find him, so they all capture all of Pac-Man's family. So now Pac-Man himself has to go through many worlds to save his family. The only difference here, I guess, from the original Pac-Man World is that some of the characters are replaced due to licensing issues. For example, Miss Pac-Man has some rights issues, believe it or not. It doesn't really seem like she should, but she does. So instead of Miss Pac-Man, we have Pac-Mom. It's a perfectly fine story for a Pac-Man game. Not much to say on it, so I'm gonna move on. This is the other stuff segment, the segment where I touch on other stuff worth mentioning, but not too much to say on. For one, the visuals are definitely the biggest improvement in this game. The game definitely looks great, and once again I said this, but I just feel the best improvement made. They also added a new thing into this game where you collect tokens, and you use those tokens to play a slot machine. These slot machines can get you more fruits if you get a perfect match. I guess it's a decent addition, but I never win. The music is more or less the same as the original, although I kind of like the music, so that's fine. Other than that, yeah, that's really it. Pac-Man World Re-Pac feels like they were starting to remake the game and improve the original game, but they kind of gave up and just decided to emulate the original to a T. While the game looks better, has some neat new additions, and it leans more on the fun to play side of things, they didn't really improve the clunkiness of the original, which I feel really hurts Re-Pac. I didn't hate this game. In fact, $30 makes it hard for me to really be too mad at this game. I feel like you get enough value for your buck there. But if they repack Pac-Man World 2 and 3, I just hope they do a little more with those than they did with this game. That being said, Pac-Man World Re-Pac gets a 7.5 out of 10. I understand a lot of people are gonna think, yo, DPX, you fucking hate this game. I don't hate it. It's a fine enough game. I don't even have too much to say on, really. Yeah, it was a bit of a letdown. But the fact of the matter is, it is a faithful remake, and it can be interpreted many different ways. It might be a little too faithful. Maybe it's just faithful at the right scale, you know what I mean? Maybe emulating it to a T is what most people wanted. Maybe I'm just an outlier here. I don't know. But I feel like it's still clunky. And the original game was released, what, 20 years ago? I don't fucking know. I feel like they could have improved the clunkiness. So, yeah, that's my review. Bit of a mixed bag, I feel. I gave it a more of a positive score. But I hope you listened to what I had to say and didn't just listen to this number I gave it. But anyways, that's what I think about Pac-Man World Re-Pac. What do you guys think? Do you like the game? Do you not like the game? Do you have the game? Do you not have the game? And if you don't, do you want the game? Do you not want the game? Anything about the game, let me know down below. Also, should I play Saints Row? Because that's a pretty popular talk right now. Let me know. Anyways, you should like this video, come subscribe, or I will eat you, like how Pac-Man does. Bye!